Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we have a different type of video for you. I am going to talk about how I was able to save over $500 in the month of January. So, how did I do this? How did I save over $500 in 1 month? The answer is I changed one thing about my life. And if you're wondering what that thing is, keep watching. So, what is the secret to saving as much money as I did in January? The answer is the one thing I changed about my routine is that I didn't spend my money. That's it. The one thing I changed is that I didn't spend anything. Now, before you click off this video, I know that sounds a little bit clickbaity, but let me explain. In January, I did a no spend. And if you've never heard of a no spend, it's essentially that. It's a time frame where you literally just don't spend anything outside of your absolute necessities. Now, just a disclaimer, this was my first time doing a no spend. I am very new to this, and everybody's money is different. My money and what I was able to save is going to look totally different than your money and what you're able to save. So please take this with a grain of salt. This is just the things that I did for myself to help me save money. So the first step to a successful no spend is figuring out your why. Why are you doing this? For me, I was realizing that I was spending just as much as I was making, and my savings account wasn't really moving all that much. And I felt like even though I knew generally how much it cost me to live and my general expenses, I couldn't tell you what date any bills came out. I couldn't tell you the exact amount of what they were. I just kind of knew generally I need to have around this much in my account. But I found that my checking account was getting a little bit lower than I felt comfortable with, and my savings really wasn't moving. So then the second step to a successful no spend is really figuring out where your money is going and where your kind of trigger points are. So for me, I realized that in the fall, I was spending way more than I probably needed to on food. So the past couple of months, I've already tried to bring down my food spending, but I was really looking at, okay, this is how much I generally spend on food. How much can I bring it down? I also was spending way too much on just like the miscellaneous things, going to Home Goods, going to TJ Maxx, Amazon, and Etsy were a big one as well. So I really looked at, okay, what things can I live without for a month? So that's the next step of the no spend, trying to figure out what I didn't need for a month. Now, I knew not to go too bare bones with this because if I deprived myself too much, then it wouldn't have been successful. If anything I cut out, I would be able to pocket that much money that month. So the first thing I did was go through my subscriptions, and the things that I cut out were Kindle Unlimited, Audible, Scribd, Disney Plus, and Book of the Month. So those are mainly reading and entertainment, and those are things that I knew I could go 1 month without. I have plenty of books. I have plenty of ways to get audiobooks from my library, from other places, so I have plenty of books here on my shelf to read. And what I found was that when I was looking into a lot of these things, I was able to pause them. So like Audible, I didn't have to actually cancel the membership. I just paused it for a bit. So I didn't have to pay for that membership in January. With Disney Plus, it's an addition to my Hulu. So that didn't save me a whole lot of money, but it saved me about $9, which was nice. So those things I cut out. And Kindle Unlimited, I actually haven't brought back in yet. I've actually been doing fine without it, and we're almost 2 months later, so I might just keep that going for a while. Book of the Month, I had a credit, so I had already had a credit sitting there, so I didn't need to pay for the membership again this month. So I still got a book from Book of the Month, but my checking account wasn't dinged. Another good recommendation is looking into what parts of your bill you can bring down. So I actually called my car insurance and kind of looked at like how many miles I drive on average. I kind of looked at my current policy, and I was actually able to bring my bill down by $4 a month, which you wouldn't really think is a whole lot, but $4 a month adds up. And that was just by plain calling and asking, like, is there anything I can do to lower my bill? I tried that with my internet provider. Unfortunately, it didn't work out very well, but it was worth a try, and it only cost me a couple minutes of my time. So for this no spend, I told myself I was only going to purchase necessities. That meant that if it was something that I truly needed, like food, I would buy it. But alcohol is not a necessity. I really enjoy wine, but I had a couple of wine bottles sitting in my house, so I knew I wasn't gonna buy wine. I wasn't gonna buy any coffee out. I have K-cups at home, I have Nespresso, I have an espresso maker, and I have a Keurig, and I can get free coffee at work. So I didn't need to be going to Starbucks or buying lattes or anything like that. So those two things, I said, nope, I'm not gonna do it. And I gave myself like a list of things that I was going to try to achieve or not achieve. I gave myself goals for things. I said I wasn't gonna buy any hair care, any makeup, or anything. And I really stuck to that. Even I actually ran out of shaving cream during the month, and I could have gone to get it because that to me is a necessity, something that I use all the time. But instead I was like, no, I really want to try this. And so I actually had been using conditioner because I was like, I really want to try and do this no spend as pure as I can. So I didn't even buy the shaving cream when I could have, but you could on your no spend if you feel like it's a necessity. I deleted apps off of my phone like Amazon and like the food apps, Crumble. I didn't buy any Crumble cookies because that was like extra. I didn't need that to live. I got rid of the Etsy app, the Chick-fil-A app, all of those that I just use probably more than I should because they're convenient. I deleted them off of my phone for the month. My next recommendation is cash. I actually pulled out cash for things like my food and for my gas so that I wasn't spending over my allotted amount. When I go to the store with my debit card, I go with a list, but if there's some extra things that I want, I just get them because I have the money in my checking account. Whereas in this case, I took out exactly the amount of cash that I need and I went to the store, and I had to be aware of how much I was putting in my cart because that was all the cash I had. I didn't take my debit card with me. So that was something that was super helpful for keeping me in budget, and it really made me look at, okay, what things do I need and what things do I just want? And I used envelopes like these to hold my cash. I actually found these online from thebudgetmom.com, and these were free downloads. So that's something else that's nice about a no spend is that I was able to look and find a lot of really free resources that were able to help me and help me kind of like start all of this budgeting. So I just downloaded these free envelopes and I cut them out, and they have little trackers on them so I could keep track of how much money was in them. And I would just take the grocery one with me when I went to the grocery store, and I would take the gas one with me when I knew I needed gas. And it kind of helped me keep the money separate. I will link below where you can get some of these. There's a lot of really great worksheets on The Budget Mom. I really like her YouTube channel and her Instagram, and some of her free resources are like super, super helpful. So definitely check those out. Okay, so you've done everything in advance of your no spend. You've looked at what things you can cut out, what things you can lower. You've looked at your goals and what you're trying to stay within as far as your budget. Then it starts, right? So we started our no spend. My next recommendation is track your spending. So I have a workbook here. This is the Budget by Paycheck workbook by The Budget Mom. And I think they're in stock currently. I'll link them below, but you do not need to get something like this. Like I said, there's so many free resources you can find online, or just get a piece of notebook paper and just track what you're spending. And there's another creator that I'll link below. It's called Two Sister Bees, and she also has a lot of free resources and like trackers and things like that. Savings challenges, we'll talk about that in a second. But so I tracked everything, and I use the highlighter method. So every color on here is a area of my budget. So like blue is food. So anything in blue is when I bought food. Anything in gray is a fixed expense. So like my car insurance, my car payment, my electricity, all of that. Anything in pink is pet, so things that I needed for my dog Indy. And the orange is miscellaneous, the green is health, the yellow is gas, the brown is income. So I tracked every single time my checking account was dinged, even if that meant me taking money out of my checking account for my cash envelopes for my general spending. And this was helpful because after I went to the store, I could look and see, okay, I spent $44 at the grocery store. I have this much left until my next paycheck. Okay, now we're going to talk about savings challenges. And this was really important to my no spend because it kept saving interesting. It made me feel excited to save because I was like playing a fun game. So personally for my no spend, I did this no spend with a group of people. So I did it with my friend Jacqueline. She has a channel here on YouTube, both a personal channel and a book channel, and she has a Patreon. And so within her Patreon, a lot of us did this no spend together. So that's another great tip in addition to all of these, is do it with somebody else. So you have that motivation and you have people that you can kind of commiserate with. And we were actually able to get into like a group chat, and we had a Marco Polo channel where we were able to just say like, I wanted to stop and get a Diet Coke after work, but I didn't. I packed my lunch today. I, lowered this bill, whatever it is. So we were able to really talk through and kind of celebrate with each other. But what we did is every day during the month of January, we rolled a dice. Whatever that dice landed on, that is what you saved that day. And so I tracked it, And over the course of that month, I saved like over $130 just by rolling a 6-sided dice every day and then moving that from my checking into my savings account. In addition, I'm doing a 52-week challenge. There's so many of them that you can find. Just Google 52-week savings challenge and you can find a bunch of different ones. And so that one was really interesting too. So every Sunday I would put into my checking account whatever I had saved during the Roll the Dice challenge that week, but then also my 52-week challenge. And Two Sister Bees has a lot of different savings challenges that you can download and do for free. And that's another really fun way to like add to your savings. All of these things that I'm talking about in this video, they didn't cost me anything. They were just things that I was doing or cutting out or finding for free on the internet. So it really helped me meet my savings goals. Okay, and then we're gonna talk about my forms of income really quick before we talk about my monthly wrap up and exactly how much I spent in each of my categories. So I actually in January, I had 4 types of income, 4 different avenues of income. So I have my full-time job where I get paid every other Friday, and the amount that hits my account is after my employer has taken out Social Security, 401k, the amount that I put into my 401k that they match, my health insurance, my dental insurance, retirement, all of that is taken out before it ever hits my account. Another thing that's taken out is that I automatically have a percentage of my account put into a savings account that I do not touch. So all of that happens, and I pay $140 towards a credit card payment, and then my paycheck hits my account. So after I have already saved, paid for all of the benefits things, and then paid my credit card bill, then I have the money left to live on. So I got 2 of those during the month of January. And then I also teach dance at a dance studio 1 night a week. So I also got that paycheck. And then I also get a check from YouTube, from AdSense, from people watching my videos, clicking, liking, subscribing, watching the ads, all of that. So thank you so much if you're one of those people who does that. It allows me to have another form of income to help create content for you. And it was also my birthday in January, so I did get a little bit of cash from my parents. So those were the 4 ways that I received income this month. I should also add that I live with my boyfriend and we have 2 dogs, and so he does pay for half of our housing, so that is really nice as well. I don't pay for all of the housing by myself. So things that I obviously had to pay for during January was my rent, my car payment, which is the same every month, my car insurance, which like I said, came down $4, so that was nice. And then my gym membership, that I felt like was a necessity. I really enjoy yoga, and I feel like that's an important part of my mental health journey. So that I did keep, and that I do categorize as a necessity because that is for my health, for both my physical health and my mental health. I paid for my internet. Obviously, I need that so that I can do YouTube and so I can work from home when I need to. And then our TV service is also bundled in with our internet. I paid my student loan payment, and with my student loan and my car payment, I try to pay more than the minimum, but in January, I just paid the minimum so I could save the difference. So subscriptions. So typically, I budget around $125 for my subscriptions. Hulu, Netflix, Disney Plus, Canva so that I can make my thumbnails, Epidemic Sound so I can put music with my videos, Patreon subscriptions, all of that is typically $125, and I was able to get it down to $93 in January. So I was able to save $32 just on subscriptions alone. My electric bill, obviously I had to pay that. And then gas, I budgeted $75 for gas. I actually ended up spending $81 in gas, so I was $6 over on that, but that to me is fine. $6, I mean, that's what, like 2 gallons of gas, not even in my area right now. So that I'm fine with. Food, okay, so I budgeted $200 for food. I only spent $155. And part of that is because I did go on 2 work trips. And when I am on a work trip, my food is covered, 3 meals a day. We have like a per diem. So that is covered by my work when I travel for them. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days that I did not have to pay for my own food. And part of that's because I got stuck in Portland, Oregon. Only supposed to be there for 3 days and I ended up there for 5, almost 6 days. So I was able to save $45 on food. Okay, let's talk pet, because this is where my no spend kind of went south. So my dog got sick on New Year's Day and the vet wasn't open, so I had to wait until the next day to take her. So I had a vet bill at the beginning of the month, and then about 3 weeks later, at the end of January, my dog got sick again and ended up having a UTI and an ear infection. And so between the first and the second one, my boyfriend graciously pays for half of the vet bills, which is wonderful. So I did have to spend $315 on the vet this month, and that was my portion. So if I didn't have to pay $300 on the vet bills, I would have been able to save so much more. But that's why I am so thankful looking back that I did this no spend, because I was so meticulous about my spending that I had the extra money there to help me pay for those vet bills. And I actually do have like a sinking fund account for my dog account. It's not an account, it's in here. These are my these are my like cash envelopes for like savings. These are saving for things like vacation, my dog, so that she has a little bit of an emergency fund in, you know, instead of worrying about, you know, when the next vet bill is going to come or what it's going to cost, or worrying if she's going to get sick. Christmas, gifts for people. So things that I'm pulling money out every paycheck and putting in here for a specific purpose on a specific date. So nails, health, and beauty. So like I said, I didn't buy any makeup this month. I do get my nails done every 2 weeks, and that is something that's important to me. I've done it for years. It is 1 hour every 2 weeks where nobody needs anything from me. I can't do anything and my phone goes off because my hands are, you know, being worked on, and I just get to relax. So that to me is a necessity. And then I also have prescriptions that I have to pick up once a week. So all of that I actually was $8 under. So I budgeted $145 for all of that, and I only spent $137. Miscellaneous spending. So here's where it also went wrong again. So I budgeted $200 for miscellaneous spending, and I ended up spending $335. So let's look at what that consisted of. Okay, so like I said, my birthday was in January, and so of course I was gonna spend money on my birthday. I told myself that during this no spend. And so I ended up spending $105 over the course of the weekend of my birthday. My boyfriend and I went out of town. And then when I was in Portland, Oregon, like I said, I got stuck there. I only packed 3 days worth of clothes, and it actually ended up having a ice storm, and we were stuck there. A lot of things were closed, so I actually had to go to Target and buy some clothes, like underwear, a jacket, some extra toiletries and things like that. So I did spend $100 at Target because I'm a little bit extra. I didn't want just like some cheap underwear. I wanted, if I was gonna pay for it and buy it, I wanted it to be something that I was gonna wear again. So I got what I typically would get from Target as far as underwear, and I got a jacket. And then I needed to get another pair of sweatpants because I ran out of clothes. And so just little things like that, so that I didn't have to keep wearing the same outfits over and over again while I was stuck in the Pacific Northwest. And we did do a little bit of sightseeing, and you know, after we thawed out on the last day we were there. So I did pay for some just sightseeing things. And then I paid $25 for a virtual reading retreat that I actually did in February. And so I did sign up for that. So I had to pay that fee in January. So that's where those $300 came from, $335. So I was $135 over, but like I said, I needed to buy those clothes. So that was kind of an extenuating circumstances. And about $240 went towards my cash envelopes that I'm saving for my sinking funds. $130 extra went into my savings account on top of what I already contribute. And then I kept $43 in my checking account as a cushion. So things that come up that I don't budget for and I kind of need to cash flow, they kind of stay there as a cushion, but I consider that savings because it's something that I'm not using now. I'm saving it for a specific purpose, with that purpose being things that I didn't budget for. And if I do have to use that money, I try to, as quickly as I can, replenish the amount in that kind of checking account cushion, because it would make me nervous because I am a paycheck budgeter. So, or a zero-based budgeter essentially. So not that my checking account gets down to zero, but every dollar that comes in has a job. So it's important to me that my checking account doesn't get down to zero because of the specific things that I may not budget for that kind of come out, or that I didn't plan on, or you know, just various things like that. Life happens. So all of that to say, I was able to save in January a total of $555. It's so nice to know that I had $500 extra to put towards debt and savings. That was so nice. So those are all the tips that I have for a successful no spend. Like I said, will link multiple resources below, both videos and blogs and things like that. I think I'm going to do a low spend in March. So I'm not going to be as like hardcore as I was in January, but I am going to try to do a low spend and see if I can save some additional money that way as well. Honestly, without those vet bills, I would have saved over $800, but it is what it is. She's worth it. and I didn't have to put that on a credit card. I didn't have to dip into my savings for it. I had the money there because I wasn't spending on other things. Okay, I think that's all I wanted to say. Please let me know down in the comments if you like videos like this. I would love to do some more videos like this. This is kind of different from my regular bookish content, but it was actually pretty fun to talk about. I'm definitely new to budgeting, but I have done a lot of research and tried to figure out what is going to work best for me and my lifestyle and my money. So let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to talk with you. If you've done a no spend, do you plan on doing another no spend? Would you like to do a low spend with me in March? Let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that subscribe button. It really helps out my channel. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.